The Mayhem pick is, whew, that's up there with a Schofield style. That's like a Carolina Reaper level.
It wasn't just a Mayhem pick, it was like a reverse sweep Mayhem
very specific, right? Johnny, so granular.
Johnny's found some extra money under the couch.
Look, he's right though. The first couple of maps, like you definitely feel like it favors Houston, especially that sort of Hollywood map. I think that's going to tell us a hell of a lot about this series.
Yeah, but I feel like the Outlaws have been so strong. Like, I don't know, 3-0 is still a really strong pick from Jake.
I like 3-0. Actually, I don't mind the 3-0 pick here, generally, for Houston.
Against Florida?
Yep. In Florida. I think these two teams are on either side of the tier break between Atlanta, Houston, and everybody else. So
Florida's the top of the next tier.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the Valiant game, though, was not very convincing. That had me, shaking a little bit. So that throws a spanner in the works for me big time. The Valiant, look, great team. Any given day can really turn up. And looking like, New York in that same sense, playing really solid. But I don't know about the Mayhem here. I'm curious to see what someone has in that tank role. I think that we've expected to see more of his Winston, I think, at the start of the season, but it was very heavily Ramatra based. They really like to play Ramatra Rush.
Yeah, and they've been good at it. I just think the Outlaws can play everything at such an insane level. I would say, like, this series definitely trends more towards a 3-0, 3-1 than I would say reverse sweep, going down to the wire there with Mr. Reinforce.
Yeah, it's fun, though. I like that from Johnny.
I also just generally don't trust people in turtlenecks and shorts.
No one knew about the shorts until you exposed him.
Well, no, he got up and did a television.
Oh, that's true. He did. Okay, all right, you're good.
He got up.
Yeah, that's an interesting combination. I'll let you decide. I'll let you just do you?
It's like winery on the top and basketball game down at the park on the bottom.
Well, it's like you telling Scotty to drink expensive wine watching the basketball, right? It's like that. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that juxtaposition. All right, here comes Florida.
I love this from Houston, by the way. Just play this aggression. You're seeing it from the Mayhem as well, but like typically this is like Houston's like one of their best looks, right?
Yeah, the Winston-based composition. They catch Happy out early, though. I think Merritt's able to find the translocator, and Happy really has nowhere to go once he returns to it. High ground, though, that's where the fighting is starting to reach a bit of a fever pitch. Violet eventually going to be brought down. Chorong trying to get there for someone, but realizing he can go back to the point and get this cap underway.
In one spot that I think that maybe the Florida Mayhem have a little bit of an advantage in these types of comps, which is quite rare because you really don't see that like the Outlaws kind of give up an advantage in any of these types of like divey comps, is I actually think Merit on the Sombra. I think Merit on the Sombra can be a spot where Florida can definitely win. You already see him versus Happy, right? 70% of that EMP to about 40.
He's looked excellent this round. I mean, he's a big part of that pick they just generate on Fearless. As Fearless tries to crawl away from the point, gets chased down. So again, subverting expectations that may have been developed from the desk in our conversation earlier here. Many of us thought the Outlaws were in such a strong position. I think that they must have included, Houston, Florida, and Jake as options, and they just folded Jake's votes, like you said, into the Houston result.
It was 25% Florida, 45% Jake. Rest Outlaws.
Again, Merit opens up the account again.
Yeah, it's like, we obviously talk about the rain as this is an EMP, as Fearless just gets deleted. I mean, honestly, Florida's dominated the round up until this point. We talked so much about the Outlaws and obviously the Rain being, very strong teams, two of our top teams. Like, Florida was great, obviously, through the Pro-Am. Ended up taking that, right, with RuPaul winning the MVP of that. And they've kind of carried it over the season. I mean, they're 5-1. You looked at these records and expected maybe Florida to be like 4-2 or something like that with the way we're kind of considering the game. So that ends up checkmate, just recalling there right into his own spot.
Well, that's what happens if you've been stood still for a while and you get accosted. You're just as vulnerable as a Summer who's had her translocator scouted out. But it's a matter of translating that kill into a point take. And Florida have been able to stall that admirably so far. Kitsune rush here, deployed by RuPaul. Pelican going to be folding away from that now. And a nano Winston here for Fearless just to get the job done, just to get the Outlaws in the game.
And if you think about how Johnny talked about this series beforehand, like Florida winning these early maps would be huge for them, right?
Even he didn't expect that.
Yeah, because he predicts that like kind of this series as it goes on, it starts to get better for Florida in terms of the map pool. So being able to play against the Outlaws dive and beating them at it with your own would be huge.
What do you think about the Lucio list set up here for Houston?
But it's definitely a little bit more defensive, right? Just trying to keep Shu alive. Because it seems like Merit and Checkmate and done a fantastic job being able to access that backline. So Violet just trying to keep Shu alive at any means possible.
All right, here comes that primal from someone. Brief interlude as he's stunned by the Brigitte. RuPaul goes down, so Pelican's been able to find a very important target midway through this fight, and someone does not have the healing required to stay alive there.
Brig paid off there, right? Shu got hit with a biotic grenade. He was quite low. Violet ends up popping the rally. They end up kind of keeping everybody alive all through that. So at least at the start, looking good, kind of bringing that Brig into the mix.
Yeah, Merit right now, 1 minute 50 per ultimate. Happy caught up, 2 minutes 11 per ultimate. Obviously small sample size, but that EMP is definitely going to be an important factor in this fight. Florida may want to wait on it just a little longer. But again, this is a window where there's no nano available for Houston, so you can pop that key target with the EMP.
So see where Merit decides to go with this EMP. Trying to probably just find out, yeah, he sees, I think, Winston up on that high ground. He knows that Violet is there as well. It's like, how do you, translocate up top? Oh, no, this is perfect. They go to the low ground.
Shu had the nano, but he can't put it on himself, can he? Great target selection there by Florida. And that's all they needed to do.
Did they get pressured from the high ground, or did they actually get booped by Charon? Charon gets the assist there. I wasn't sure, like, if they get knocked off, because there's really not a reason for those players to just leave the high ground at that point.
Shu and Violet have been giving up the high ground like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
They've been they've been optionally leaving it in the previous fights here. This time maybe that's not the case. Happy's been up to something, but can't cook up enough to keep the Outlaws in the round.
Yeah, you're just kind of walking directly into the EMP at that point, where at least if you get EMP'd on the high ground and they use that Winston leap, you can get out, like jump off and kind of go to the low ground and maybe play from there. That time, though, just an all-out collapse.
So because Merit was building EMP about 20 seconds faster, it actually meant that he and Happy had them in alternate fights. They really coincided with each other. And still, the Florida Mayhem were able to hold off the Houston Outlaws quite admirably in fights where they didn't have an EMP, going up against one themselves.
So this is a comp right here. We'll see what Florida decides to do, but bringing in a Reaper here, I mean, that is to just mow down Fearless, right? Reaper,
does this force like a Doom switch?
Moira. Yeah, this is interesting. And we've seen the Outlaws play the Doom, and we saw it. We didn't really love Fearless's Doom Fist the last time we saw it. It was left a little bit to be desired.
We've actually seen the Outlaws play
a good amount of Doom.
Yeah, and also Moira. They're one of the teams that have actually had Violet on the Moira at times here, but yeah, very different look for Florida here. Very threatening for Winston to deal with this particular composition, and there's no great targets to pressure.
Invisible. I mean, just blinked right behind.
All right, Violet. Doesn't quite connect the whip shot there, but Checkmate's been put on notice. No one's really bothering him too much, though, as the Outlaws don't have the bandwidth to really turn around en masse. Sleeping Winston, rather someone asleep. Ramatra there. Pressure on Chorong, able to get that health pack, still being nipped at by Pelican throughout this fight. But here it is, Florida have this all-in brawl comp now with this Moira and the Reaper.
I like it, though. It was just like Checkmate, just poking damage on the Violet and Shu, got them a little bit weak. Fearless gets low, jumps back, and then all of a sudden the Outlaws find themselves like in a situation where they're just kind of like standing around that Mega, everybody's at like 50%, and here come the Florida Mayhem with a Reaper leading the charge, like all topped up.
Yeah, very scary for Houston. They've got to pick their fights very carefully. Pulse bomb there, looks like RuPaul able to fade away from that one. Coalescence on deck, and that's going to be fired off now, keeping Chorong standing. Chorong will now group up with RuPaul as they wrap around. The rest of the Mayhem will be topped up mostly. Double biotic grenade connection here. Chorong getting close to a sound barrier, though. The Outlaws have to act pretty soon. That EMP's on the horizon, to be fair. They're going to have to make use of it now as we have a primal from Fearless. Pulse bomb, nice. Though, onto Violet during rally, no less.
And you see how far back Violet and Shu get forced back through this choke here. I mean, there's no way they can help Fearless, as Fearless ends up popping the primal. This will be a Death Blossom in front of the spawn door. As this has been as ugly as we have seen the Outlaws look. I mean, they are just getting rolled on by the Florida Mayhem right now.
Yeah, like a cry of jubilation from Merit as he secures the 4K. The Florida Mayhem have got it figured out here. They come out of the gates looking impeccable on a composition we just don't see that often. Houston have not found an answer to it yet. Yes, they have an EMP, but it's getting a little late in the day. They need to strike now, and they need to strike hard. Oh, the fade! Oh, Rupal, love the moves, gets out of trouble there.
I don't think he gets anybody.
Nope. Not a one.
No,
I think Rupal was the focus.
Yeah, I don't think he got anybody with that EMP. I mean, that is brutal.
Not a good sign at all here. Recall has to be used there by Pelican, reciprocated by Checkmate. Pulse bomb here for Pelican. This is kind of it. Nano Boost also on deck here for Fearless immediately on that Ramatra. Switching back, of course. Winston does not want to tangle with Reaper. They're starting to encroach on that Annihilation here, but Fearless has got a lot of work to do in this fight, and the Coalescence is going to be more than just a little annoying. Shu, about to get hosed down. How can he stop this? No connection on the sleep there by the looks of things, but he does get some help, at least from Violet. Rupal, though, far from done. Tries to push through that front line, and Fearless will shut him down.
Yeah, and do you make changes here if you're the Florida Mayhem? You've run, obviously, the Ramatra with the Moira and the Lucio here and Reaper against that Winston-based setup. Do you want to go toe-to-toe in this kind of like Ramatra brawl with this type of lineup in the mix? At least here, it looks like they do.
All right, once more into the breach for the Florida Mayhem. 3 players.
Big biotic grenade, yeah.
Yeah, who with that bio? Gonna buy some time for Houston. They need much more of it though, and it doesn't come cheap.
Yeah, let's see if this EMP is better.
All right, hey, decent lineup here. Hey, just throw your translocator in. All right, never mind. All right, Casino Rush is gonna get the job done here. Violet able to blow Merit up instantly. And that's good. And it's a cheaply won fight, relatively speaking, for Houston.
Yeah, I mean, they hold on to that EMP, right? EMP and Annihilation. So they have the Annihilation. I think like if things get, a little bit scary, you start fighting on the point. I think you know if you're kind of using that. But this EMP, you could use this as a kickoff. You see where Happy is. He's going to know exactly where everybody's kind of pushing in from.
Yeah, with a Mayhem probably grouping up to take the high ground here. Try and stick Reaper right in the face of the Outlaws. That's an EMP, came after the sound barrier here. Chorong can't get much value from it by the looks of things. Pelican's able to pick off Rupal here before the fight really begins. So that's most of that Florida Mayhem healing out of the picture. And even if it was there, it wouldn't be going in the direction of someone on Chorong in that moment. Another bio connection. Fearless holding on to this Ramatra ult.
This is scary for Florida, though, because this fight's taking so long to kind of like develop, where yeah, they were just like hanging around for a little bit there, even thought that was winnable after the sound barrier, and they end up kind of giving up an extra like 10-15% here. It's just gonna cause more time in between this fight and the next.
Merit, let's see how he goes with a Death Blossom when his opponents aren't desperately trying to run back inside their own spawn. One more fight to end it here. Coalescence is available for Rupal. Could be a difference maker. Merit's able to force the translocate away here by Happy here with a Bardic Grenade forced into Wraith Walk. Gonna be looking for some healing. That could be hard to find at this stage, though. It's Chorong fighting Shu, though. Nana was able to be deployed at the very least on towards Fearless, but he's in danger, and Chorong sends him over the edge. What a key environmental kill here for the Florida Mayhem. That's why he earns the big bucks. Florida Mayhem close out Oasis in the next few moments. There's no doubt about it. What a way to begin a series.
A really strong start there from Florida. Got a little bit dicey towards the end there of round number 2. But really, it was all Florida Mayhem pretty much throughout all of map number 1. Maybe the desk, I don't know about them. They got the Justice win in 3-0 last series, and we saw that win. They kind of have the Outlaws, dominating here. I'll say to Johnny, where at the start, it looks like the Florida Mayhem. The biggest thing for me is that they win playing this like dive type setup, where you thought you'd favor them in more of like those rush style compositions, right? So being able to win in the dive is really impressive.
Yeah, and then of course we see them, go over towards this like rush composition with the Reaper. The Outlaws are forced to mirror it, right? Fearless moves over towards the Ramatra. Yes, there's a nice little moment from Merit here. Maybe junk time kills, but still pretty important. And he was very pleased about that. Chorong able to get a boot kill on a nanoed Ramatra inside of that ultimate was massive. Fearless fuming about that one, and the Outlaws all definitely steam coming out of the ears after a first map loss to the Mayhem. Hollywood coming right up next. Don't go too far. This one might prove to be a little spicier than us experts had thought.
What the fuck? Holy shit! Holy shit! 미치겠습니다. Holy shit!
Nice.
Well, how do you follow up something like that? Florida Mayhem almost in disbelief at how that last map turned out. They've got every reason to be pleased as punch with a 2-0 win on Oasis.
Yeah, and I'm curious how the Outlaws decide, or bounce back, right? I thought Merit was fantastic in map number 1, whether it was on the Sombra or even the Reaper. I thought that was a really interesting kind of composition that almost seemed a little bit tailored to kind of go fearless on that Winston a little bit as we move into Hollywood. I mean, this is another map that I think Merit versus Happy is going to be another really interesting battle, right? You know, high grounds, hit scan maybe, second part of the map. I mean, two of the best we got in the league.
I would point out that the Outlaws did lose that first map against the London Spitfire, but not for the same reasons. So if you want to use the control curse as any, free copium, then you're welcome to. This time around, very much soundly beaten in a rush mirror were the Houston Outlaws. So Hollywood obviously offers opportunities for very different compositions. Maybe a playstyle that is a bit more of a snug fit for the Houston Outlaws, but got to say, not the auspicious beginning they were looking for here if they wanted to be 6-1 after today.
Yeah, as they'll come out here on defense. They'll have Chorong on the break, so they're going to want to play the break. I think both teams may end up actually playing the break on defense because you're going to want to protect the cafe area, right? That's kind of where your Ana is going to be set up. Typically, maybe with like an Ashe, right? We've seen teams play Ashe, I know, at the cafe as well, but this is really kind of protect RuPaul over there, whether he's going to be playing up on that high ground or down in the cafe. Most likely the cafe.
Chorong, played Brig in a lot of really important map wins for the Toronto Defiant, actually, where that defensive Brig was really important. Think about their Dorado. They used to play it on sort of high ground defense, first point Dorado.
The legendary Defiant Dorado.
Yeah, but that was one of the much more memorable parts of that team, I think, because no one else really did that last year. They opted not to play the Brig there, so that was like a real signature style of theirs that worked against even the best teams. So Chorong on the Brig, that is to say that he's a big difference maker.
Biotic grenade goes in, but does not connect with everybody, and that's the benefits of that dynamite. You see Happy, a few players leaving. Now everybody kind of like funneled into where that mega health pack is and just get sick value out of that dynamite. A few players are low for the Florida Mayhem trying to leave. Houston picks up a few kills. They may actually get point A for it as well.
So the Mayhem dive there. They are playing Sombra Tracer. Is that because they're concerned about letting Happy get set up there? Because it's very aggressive for defenders to play.
I don't know. I actually was surprised that you have Merit. I mean, obviously fantastic on the Sombra, but tremendous on hit scan that you wouldn't consider playing even the Ashe on defense, right? I mean, that is something we see quite often as well. So
Florida forced to play a slightly riskier style on defense. It just doesn't pay off. End up losing the Tracer duel, and things start to fall apart from there with Sombra as their only DPS.
Yeah, because what do you do here if you're Florida to try and contest high ground? Checkmate's gonna what? Are you gonna
take the stairs?
Are you gonna use Checkmate on Genji, right? Otherwise, what's kind of your move here?
Checkmate, you see, is right now relegated to sea level, and probably won't fight that half of the high ground. So what mechanism do Florida have to, like you're saying, to re-establish that outside of someone popping up there every now and then?
You can't just let Happy just free fire down on Ashe,
This
right?
is not going to work.
It's not great.
I mean, someone needs to push the cart in fairness. Pelican is there right now. Eventually, Happy should Violet could transition this advantage of high ground.
The supports are so far pushed out.
Yeah, maybe the comp for Florida just isn't what they need. Now they don't have Checkmate to sort of contest Pelican or the cart. They're being forced back. They never had high ground control on this part of the map. This is not a great start on Hollywood.
Yeah, this is quite bad here for the Florida Mayhem. An opportunity, though, maybe here, where you can have like a rally plus a nano EMP to get control of the cart again, but high ground completely dominated by the Outlaws. Looks like Happy is trying to look over on Fearless' screen, knowing when to drop that bomb.
Yeah, a little bit wayward there for Happy. Maybe would have liked to alight on the high ground somewhere else instead of being forced low. But the bomb is pretty nicely placed. It's going to shut down one of those entry points to the cart. And here comes the EMP follow-up. So that is good. But I think the burning question is, after all these ultimates are used by Florida, how do they establish a good defensive position, one that's going to be robust and allow them to keep burning this clock?
Or do you not want to get into the game here of Florida of just like switching comp, trying to play for high ground constantly? Maybe you feel like you can contest it good enough with just someone, and you're playing the long game of, hey, people probably break through this anyway. You know, let's hold on to EMP for the end, right? Let's kind of build fights around winning with EMP, because now they do have some high ground control.
Yeah, but now it matters less to Houston. Look at the comp they're playing. They don't have the Ashe anymore. They're maybe much more interested in fighting lower to the ground here. Merritt almost gets caught there. Bio grenade and 15 points of health, but chooses the right time to pull the plug. Top himself up here. And the Outlaws are completely forgotten about the rooftops right now. Ooh, Pelican just able to blink away from that hack. This will slow down a bit here.
It seems like both teams just circling around, just trying to find any type of opening. Fearless ends up popping the Primal and knocking RuPaul up into the sky so Shu can finish him off as the first one to go.
Yeah, it's all about that backline focus here. And taking Ana away from the high ground and then removing Chorong means that this is pretty much done for Florida. Someone slept, so probably ill-advised to use Primal here anyway. But we'll have that choice taken away from him. And we'll spy check that left door. Yeah, no chance Merritt's getting through.
No. Merritt just putting down some damage, trying to farm towards another EMP and then goes back. So really nice. You know, the Outlaws, they win point A relatively quick, and then do a nice job just taking away all high ground potential from Florida Mayhem on defense. And really getting through B pretty fast as they get rid of Merritt's translocator and Violet picks up the kill. That's another big opening here. You're going to get some payload progress off of that.
Timed that out really well. It was hard to see if there's actually a setup around that translocator kill because Happy kind of goes for it pretty quickly. Aaron would have been looking to build towards EMP in that last fight, but the Outlaws will be permitted further progress here. Pelican needs to find a way in. Checkmate's going to be marking, but once he gets past Checkmate, then Chorong is just begging to be stuck with the pulse bomb. It's going to take some time for Pelican to make progress here, though.
Yeah, there's so many like individual little battles happening in different parts of the map, right? Like the Sombras both giving each other up to go for the back line. Yeah, like Tracer v Tracer. You got just the Winston straighten damage down on the car.
You want EMP here, Happy. You won't. Oh, there we go. They combo nicely, but elsewhere Merritt does find the EMP. Someone also got nanoed. RuPaul able to give that away before he's eliminated. So this is going to slow the Outlaws down with this play.
Yeah, I wonder if Checkmate could get out, but that's actually a really nice play from someone. Like, you actually probably would have saw Happy and Pelican chase that, but putting down some damage forced them back.
Aaron harassing Violet here. Again, constantly forcing Shu to turn around and look at his brig, which is kind of not where he wants to focus right now. Well, now he's been relieved of that responsibility as Violet's been relieved of his life. Checkmate's able to finish off that second backliner here, and the Mayhem are controlling this corridor very effectively. Pelican time and time again has been trying to make his way through here. He's been staved off each occasion.
What is Violet supposed to do? When Checkmate comes flying from the high ground, he looks up and then just gets hacked.
Put your head between your legs and kiss your bum goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no type of like counterplay almost there, especially like you don't have a Lucio to boop or get you out of the way, right? Like Biotic Grenade comes down, but he just gets pancaked. Speaking of pancake, that's a Shu just happens as well. He gets hacked and then the Tracer's there as well.
Like a really dodgy World Star watermark in the corner of that video. Right, Florida easing into this defense now. A big part of his Checkmate's very hard to catch. And this goes upstairs here. Someone going to play further back into the choke for the time being, holding still onto this Primal Rage. Merritt charging that one up, but both backliners hit with an EMP. This is the opening for Houston. Happy's hit with a Bionade instantly, which means the cooldowns are back online for RuPaul. And no follow-up onto the supports.
Well, no, I mean, there's just so much pressure onto the backline for the Outlaws. It's actually going to be a nano over to Violet here, trying to keep him up. Pulse bomb onto someone, but he pops Primal.
There's nothing you can do about Violet here with that nano on. Merritt EMP could be a game changer. Someone wants to buy a little bit more time here. Nano over towards someone, so that's going to assist in that endeavor. And Checkmate gets the better of Pelican again. Checkmate having an excellent time of things now. 6 final blows and 2 deaths for him on the Tracer.
Oh, and Fearless tries to get rid of Merritt. You can't, this is so good for the Florida Mayhem. That kill probably Checkmate allows them to actually hold on to that EMP. They can actually now just let the Outlaws walk into this EMP as Happy is over on the Hanzo. Play a little bit more defensive. Maybe you can get a pick off on one of these flankers.
I don't think they want to be defensive right now, man.
I mean,
they gotta go.
Try and just support the backline a little bit more, maybe.
EMP, there it is. Be on the way through Fearless Court. 4 players connected with, but not enough damage to follow up, and Violet's able to get the rally online just in time. So you see someone now playing much safer. Chorong takes a few hits here.
Oh, Pelican got hacked and couldn't recall.
Oh, someone able to pick him off there as well. Fearless, what can he do about this? The peel is instant there, and great sleep on a Happy, who'd be the one to try and take advantage of the chaos, but instead he's punching out Z's. Checkmate strikes again. Happy brought down. A rude awakening for him as the rest of the Outlaws are getting the Sandman treatment. Back to spawn with you, and we'll see you on the next half.
I didn't love the Florida Mayhem defense on point A or B, but really solid there towards the end. That was actually when Pelican was trying to actually battle Checkmate in like a one-on-one. Merritt was up on the high ground, hacked him from above, and then Checkmate and someone finished him off.
The Sombra play from Florida has been a cut above for this entire series so far.
That's kind of what I mentioned in Map 1. Like I thought, like if there was a way, or if there was like you kind of looking at player for player, like one where you can say like, hey, maybe there's a clear advantage here. I thought like Merritt, Happy is good on Sombra, but I think Merritt's like very strong on Sombra.
Merritt, of course, going up against his old team. Old teammates there as well.
The Merritt revenge game.
Don't think that's what's going on. So I called out Checkmate's sort of final blows to deaths, and then Checkmate went and got 3 more kills in very quick succession. You can see how this plays out.
Yeah, this is after the kill on Pelican as well, so.
That sleep on Happy from Rupile, man, it looked like so offhand. It was huge.
Because he made it look so casual. Yeah. He's like just being pummeled by Fearless.
Quick like little 90-degree swing, you know?
Yeah, he's being pummeled by Fearless is in overtime of like an incredibly important moment. And he casually just looks
just a lazy sleep.
Yeah, just sleeps a Hanzo. Why not? So the Outlaws, they do play the Ashe on defense. I thought like I actually was like, whereas in the Florida Mayhem do this, right? Because Ashe, you can play from the cafe with the Ana and the Brig. It's a really nice setup. You can get value out of the Dynamites here.
But it's a Reaper setup for Florida. With the Winston though, and we won't have, of course, the Moira. we're not brawling here.
But this is like typically, right? You're worried about like people getting into the cafe and putting pressure. Everybody can access it here on the Florida Mayhem. The mobility for Florida is off the charts, man. I mean, look at that. You have all, like, typically it's difficult to get like 2 players into that position, right? They get everybody. The Reaper TP's in, you got the Winston, you got the Genji, the Kurigo can TP to somebody else. I mean, everybody is inside this cafe in seconds.
No, Pelican's got a bit of extra room in the gullet, but my goodness, the entirety of the Florida Mayhem being thrust down it, definitely more than he can handle.
Is the gullet the mouth of a Pelican? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I knew.
It definitely is less funny when it's exploding.
Yeah.
For your benefit. Probably for a lot of other people.
Just to be clear, the viewers at home who aren't up to date on,
they don't know what a gullet is.
Aren't up to date on birds. Yeah. These birds are so new.
I'm not an ornithologist, but...
Yeah, I'm not a bird expert.
Yeah, that's an ornithologist. Yeah. All right, here come the Mayhem. Goodness. Somebody save us. Bionade on someone here. So great stuff, Florida, and straight away Houston are not about Ashe anymore. Back towards the Sombra of Happy, who's been playing second fiddle. Merritt.
I think this is good for the Mayhem, though. Oddly, like when we've seen these head-to-heads, they've been able to win this type of setup, right? Which is typically a setup that nobody beats the Outlaws with because how good a lot of their players are.
Okay, back to the high ground here for Fearless. Florida have been making dogged advances despite this constant pressure. Fearless here, takes note, I guess, of Merritt already well and truly wrapped around. So where are your opportunities to start to leverage these ultimates you've built for the Outlaws? This might be it here. EMP, and the timing's great.
Yep. Chorong explodes right after. Yeah, everybody from Florida backs up. I was like, is there a world in which you think about fighting this a little bit more? You know, making the Outlaws sweat a little bit, but they don't. So the Outlaws will still control the high ground here and control the cart's movement at the moment. But the Mayhem are going to have 4 ultimates here, so you'll have Rally, obviously, like when the Primal comes in, I think that's kind of what you're looking at there. And we'll see if Merit can land a huge EMP.
Oh! Okay.
The tables have turned.
Big brother to the rescue after that one. Hang about. Merit, obviously, the equivalent of blowing spitballs, I think, at the Outlaws.
I think Merit was going to EMP there and he got hacked.
That actually might be quite possible.
Yeah.
Nice, another big sleep from RuPaul. They've been absolutely stellar.
Just pre-fire prediction there from Happy. Just talks about his stealth.
Yeah, you probably have like some idea, right?
Yeah. You see that's kind of the direction. You think he's coming out of one of those doors again?
All right, Primal and slept another one from RuPaul. RuPaul's special at this point. Fearless pulsed. Hacked. Still can't bring this guy down. A score to settle, perhaps, for our young protagonist, as he was often known, and RuPaul obviously the only casualty so far. Chorong soon to follow.
The hack on Merit's kind of big because at that time you had someone on the high ground. I believe Checkmate was there as well. And Violet is in Rally, and that's when it looked like he was going to EMP up on that high ground, which would have been bad if you'd have forced the supports. Like if both supports got hit by the EMP, forced down low, you're in a spot where Florida could have easily have taken that, but it's a nice, really nicely timed hack from Happy that prevents Merit to do so.
A lot of heavy lifting from the Tracers here, Matt. Checkmate is 11 of 20, and Pelican 9 of 16 final blows respectively. Big setups by the Sombras, but the finishing credit going to the Tracers on many occasions. That's the EMP. Violet nanoed instantly, as is the custom. And now it's a matter of dealing with someone who has the Primal, but he got hacked. Didn't have a chance to use it. That's big.
Yeah, the hacks have been really nicely timed from Happy here on defense as Pelican wins that 1v1 against Checkmate, where now you don't have this EMP. You're below 2 minutes. What do you decide to do here if you're the Florida Mayhem? You've had this Primal for 2 fights now. Now you get your Nano. You're not really in a position where you can switch up comps, right? You know, minute 43, you're kind of like, this is it.
It's all about the Winston here, Matt. Someone's got a big job to do. Here comes Happy again. Again, blowing more spitballs at the back of RuPaul's head in class. He sits at the front answering all the questions. Translocate out. Likely an EMP very soon, but forced to return to base prematurely. RuPaul playing from as safe an angle as they can find.
Nano Boost is ready. Get in there for who?
We're about to find out, I dare say. All right, Pulse Bomb there. On the ground, it's going to be Chorong finding Pelican. So in the churning mass of bodies, it's going to be Pelican falling to a whip shot. Up on that high ground, a rally is in play for Chorong here. The Mayhem slowly but surely starting to make some progress here, and this dive is important. Getting rid of Shu is crucial. Checkmate went through the labor of climbing up the lift to try and get there, and it's going to be a sleep dart on someone. God, this backline is so hard to kill.
Shu and Violet live through that. I mean, that is insane.
They've gone through worse, man.
I mean, Shu now gets shot back towards the Florida Mayhem. He'll fall now, but man, living it that long on the high ground is so impressive.
Far from over. They need to get Violet here, but Violet's going to be sitting on a health pack. He can get top back up. Shu has a nano boost as well. This is looking bad for the Florida Mayhem. Merit getting rid of Fearless. Not too shabby here, but again, Violet gets caught out there. I guess Shu's not really in the vicinity at all. He's coming back off spawn.
Yeah, and they use the EMP, but you don't have really people here who can touch. I mean, Checkmate dies. As you use the EMP there for the Florida Mayhem, you did get the picks on behind it, but with someone at half HP, and just Checkmate, there's not enough players there to live.
No support ults left, just a pulse bomb for the Florida Mayhem. Not great looks, there's a touch there. It's close though. Violet almost ends that round there and then. Slow and steady. EMP connects onto Merit. Bionic Grenade follow-up is good. Florida down to 4 players. We're going to have to make it work. Pelican, beam me up, Scotty, he says, looking for Chorong, who won't be able to evade him for much longer at this rate. Shu's able to find just the one, but here's Checkmate. He's got them both. The Pulse Bomb, great connection here. Pelican trying to man the car for the time being, but someone is going to be brought down. Chorong needs to stay close to it here as Checkmate falls. The last hope for the Florida Mayhem, forced inside the saloon to drink his last. And it will be a Houston Outlaws hold here. Even score in the series.
Yeah, is everybody just stone-faced now?
They're shocked.
Yeah, they're stunned. No, but really strong defense there from the Outlaws. I mean, Checkmate almost was able to swing it there at the end. I mean, 2 kills on getting both supports out of the way. Fantastic. But for the most part, though, Shu and Violet did such an incredible job surviving, holding that high ground.
Yeah, Checkmate 13 of 26, and that's not enough to make the difference. This is an interesting part of the map here where most of the time Pelican was getting staved off, trying to work up this small alleyway. Chorong obviously falling foul of the Pulse Bomb there, but the defense from Florida was pretty darn nice here. Again, the Slick Dart mid-fight on a Happy, something we remarked on. Rupal with a couple nice sleeps over the course of this map in general. Checkmate obviously with that 3K. We definitely have to take a moment to go back and look over it. And despite all of this, right, Florida just pull up a little short.
I mean, these two teams feel like they're so evenly matched. And what I'm really interested in now is we've gotten through the two maps that, you know, Johnny at least thought would be
one-sided, right? Or at least
one-sided or Outlaws favored in heavily fashion. Now let's see what the Florida Mayhem have the rest of the series, right?
Yeah.
Do we see, do they want to move away from Dive? Are they okay kind of playing this Dive head-to-head? It'll be really interesting moving into Rialto.
So far in the Ramatra Rush, that's where the Mayhem have looked a little bit better. Rialto will offer more opportunities to play that comp and style, so don't go too far. The prospects of a map 5 squarely on the table. You don't want to be missing this series, folks. Make no mistake, people, we have a series on our hands. It really looked like another Florida map at points there on Hollywood, but Houston able to turn it around and turn up the heat there when it came to defense.
Absolutely, but now I think as we move forward in the series, when we go over to Rialto, no, in the past we've actually seen Gargoyle come in for the Outlaws at times here, but not going to come in here, which tells me what? Ramatra or Winston-based setups? Yeah, no Diva, so that'll be interesting.
I wonder what the decision making is behind that. It might be Florida want to play maybe like a rushdown style, which could be a bit dangerous to play on a map where you're dealing with a lot of high ground. We'll see. Rialto look a little arid these days.
Yeah, Rialto's looking different.
Times be changing out there, you know what I mean? After nuclear fallout there in Italy, we all got our Wastelanders on.
Yeah, I guess the map said Rialto, but I guess you're going to... Well, now it makes sense why Gargoyles in.
Dude, I love... We still hear the accordion in the background for a moment. Yes! Junkertown. The point stands, though. Although you feel like this is actually a much more fertile environment to make use of the Ramatra Rush comps here.
Yeah, also Widowmaker play, right? Merit against Happy again, right? We talked about how it has been going on in terms of Sombra play. And maybe you're going to see it now develop in the Widowmakers. Violet can definitely play Zen here. We've seen them do that as well.
Yeah. If Houston are banking on going up against like a slow composition, this would be it. Jake did a illustration of this Houston setup really well and showed how like Shu and Violet are very, very good on defense. We'll get to that. About playing the really long sight lines and being very hard to catch. No Widow for Happy. Actually, I guess he spots Merit and thinks no, Sombra time.
Yeah, that's really interesting because the Widow shot goes right by him and then decides that they're not going to challenge the Widow versus Widow. They're actually going to play the Winston-based setup here with the Kariko in play. So really interesting. They see the Ramatra, they see the Widowmaker on the other side, and they say maybe we can kind of capitalize on that with playing a dive.
So they want to try and scout out, I think, where Rupal is playing for. They can make an educated guess, I think, as to where he is.
Yeah, like 2 spots he could be.
Yep. Oh no, the Goon Squad. It's coming.
Switch.
The Goon Squad is coming. Okay. They attempt to hack Chorong now, effectively removing his shield from the equation for a time. Merit doesn't have a great way of like relieving this pressure on his backline. So he probably needs to focus here more towards the center of the map. Just going for it, my guy.
I mean, it's like having a 3rd DPS in the mix. The issue is I mean, Shu is so weak in the backline as, yeah, someone's able to deal with him, and then they also, Fearless comes back basically at half health.
Might be the issue there, right? Just leaving your honor alone with the sole job of keeping Fearless alive. Eventually someone could just walk. Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you're not going to get this kill fast, and you're going to commit, what, 3 players to it, you're in trouble, right?
What are they cooking? What exactly is being served?
Violet's on a flank here. He is still there.
Kant is stationary presently. Violet is now dead.
Is this riskier from the Outlaws than just like mirroring the Widow and kind of seeing who can shoot the best?
I think for an attacking team it is riskier, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of space to cover here, right?
Yeah.
They're to try and get that Widow.
And you can probably do it more consistently with good flankers. Now, though, Happy's whereabouts are going to be known for the next 10 seconds. Merit's still being harassed. You can see the health bar sort of just being topped back up while Checkmate runs interference here. Making sure probably the Violet can't get a safe flank route to join Happy. Now we got there beforehand, but we digress. I don't know if I like what's being cooked here.
It just seems like it may take a really long time to develop, right? So their Merit gets
they're cooking kimchi is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's Fearless, I mean, look at this. Like now kind of like, what? Someone's just kind of caught in the middle is...
What is going on here? Who let the Foxes out? Kitsune Rush thrown in the back line here. Pelicans able to find the Pulse Bomb connection, but Chorong got nanoed. The raid boss is in. Fearless not passing nearly highly enough, apparently. Okay.
But like, Kitsune Rush in the hallway there to try and get the Widow, like, the Violet switches to actually the Zen. I'm interested in playing the Zen as Shu gets really low. Playing the Zen into the Widow with like no shield, especially if they're running like Checkmate on Tracer, it feels like it's a rough one.
I mean, this is about as subtle as putting flames on the side of a Tesla from the Outlaws. It's very clear to see what they're trying to do, and even when they do something completely off the wall like that Kitsune Rush, the defensive resources are there for the Mayhem, right? They just nano the brig. They just, even though they lose a player to the Pulse Bomb there, Houston are really brute force.
You might be able to get it. Oh, well, here goes Violet. I was going to say, you might be able to get something here with your EMP. The issue is if Fearless has to commit to that dive, right? With the EMP, you're leaving Violet and Shu to just die.
Violet, yeah, switches to the Zen against a Widow. I know you said that players should be in charge of strategy a bit more, Matt, but I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, he switches back to the Kiriko here, and that EMP does yield an opportunity to get rid of Checkmate. A very important first kill, but Merit on the Widow. We're going to make things happen here. Impresight in play.
Oh, he just needs one of these shots.
How about that one? Pretty good. About two. Shu's in danger here, playing out in the open. All that happened to the sleep. Okay, on Checkmate, he tries to drop onto the car, and the pulse bomb on Chorong here. Well, they've done it. The Outlaws have managed to get towards this first checkpoint. Very sort of messy, but hey, maybe now as we start to deal with a bit more up and down, some more high ground here, readily accessible, the Outlaws comp comes into its own a bit more, but that was a struggle.
That sleep from Shu hitting Checkmate is way better than hitting Merit.
And he didn't mean to hit Checkmate, let's be real.
No, he's shooting at Merit. Because Checkmate would have been able to at least like get on the car, you know, blink around, recall,
Pulse
make it
something.
interesting, pulse something, right? So, not the intended target, but an even better target than the intended one. Merit will now go over to Sombra. So both of these teams fully committed on this dive.
You should have Fearless already trying to command some of this high ground. Checkmate got hacked down. It looks like Fearless was ready to follow up. Fearless and Happy definitely are on the same page with a lot of these dives here, which has worked pretty well for the Outlaws in the past. Well, that's a nice one. Checkmate. Pin the pulse bomb on the Shu.
Rally here from Chorong. So feels the need. I mean, they were all like, I mean, you had what, Fearless, and I think there was Violet in the back line, but everybody seemed pretty healthy.
Pretty comfortable,
so, yeah. So.
All right, minute 13 left here. Far from convincing are the Houston Outlaws, a team we had firmly pegged to that second in the West spot.
Is the most concerning part? Well, I don't really. Is it concerning against Florida? Probably not. Right?
No, it makes me feel better about this top 3, top 4 situation. In fairness, I'm okay with it. From an Outlaw fan perspective, you're probably a little bit befuddled right now. Again, a little bit more pleased, perking up a little bit, seeing how this fight has played out. Much of it off the back of that Kitsune rush. This time from Violet, much more conventionally deployed. And they get the result they're looking for here. Florida going to have to come back out with an EMP into an EMP.
And I do like how Florida is willing to play the dive against them. Like, I think we've seen, like, Atlanta and Houston willing to play that dive, and everybody else not really trying to use it, playing Ramattra, where they play the dive. That's actually a nano on a Chorong here. Merit holds on to this EMP.
I think Shu is making Merit uncomfortable back behind him on that high ground. Still going to go for the EMP here, though. Pretty good connections going to allow them to secure the kill on Fearless. Primal Rage to chase Violet down someone. Well, we won't have to get the job done. It'll be Merit getting there. And the Florida Mayhem turning back up on defense here at just the right time. The EMP came first from Merit. It paves the way. And the Mayhem here will be able to hold outside of this last phase of the map. It's pretty nice.
The only thing I can think from Merit is maybe he actually thought that Shu had the nano when he didn't, and wanted to kind of get that nano, maybe like bully Fearless enough that they would use the nano and then get the EMP after. But he decides, I think, to just use it where Shu was like 96 or something close to it.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually
could have gone either way, right? If he waits a little longer on that EMP.
Absolutely.
Because he turned and hacked Shu on that high ground and then just said, okay, well, I need to focus on the car.
So he knows he doesn't have it.
Yeah, gets that info.
He gets the info that he doesn't have it. So.
I mean, he could have been shocked, though, we're at a couple seconds differences.
Right.
That's what we're saying. All right. The plan.
Yeah, I think this says more that, like, we need to kind of consider Florida in that top tier as opposed to, oh my God, the Outlaws, right? Because Florida... Because a lot of teams will not play this type of style against Houston or even Atlanta, and just get rolled over by it. Where playing it against them, I mean, that is strong stuff. As Rubel gets the kill there onto Fearless, and then let's see. Yep, shoots him out of the sky. Nice stuff.
That was after Merit was able to follow up on Violet, which is a pretty important kill in that fight there.
No Widow on D for the Outlaws, right? I feel like it makes it a little bit easier for the Mayhem to play against, but also, I mean, this is Houston's like bread and butter, right? I mean, this is what they're great at.
This is their comp right here.
This like is their comp.
All right, see how this plays out here. Florida looking at very good on the dive setup. They slowed down a little bit on Hollywood, so that's maybe one concern you want to have. They obviously shut down outside of the Gulcher Studios on that map by Houston's defense. Similar compositions being played there. Sitting right back is RuPaul there. finish the job here? Probably not. That's a sleep dart. Good follow-up. Merit had nowhere to go there. Both backliners, the Outlaws turning up and getting the dirty work done where it had to be. This will be Florida with 4 players being forced to jockey back further.
Yeah, decent payload progress, getting it, through the underpass and around that first corner pretty much. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of try and kill Shu as he kind of exists in the backline. And I think it'll actually be, you have Shu on his own on an island, right? Like Violet can get there right away if he needs to.
Again, Merit's going for Shu once more. You can see that top left of your screen. Just a hack this time.
He hacks him and then turns and shoots at Violet.
He knows what's coming at this point. Occupying the backline as best he can. An EMP already built for Happy, by the way. That is lightning fast. And the follow-up is good. Happy going to be pleased with that one, I think. His defense starting to look much like it did on Hollywood, Matt. Really starting to find a rhythm.
As Merit has not been able to find any source of damage, right? Because he's going and putting pressure on the Shu and Violet. And he's not picking up kills, right? Just kind of peppering them with some damage.
Boy, he can't even farm them. He can't farm them safely. Yeah. He just dies to a random kunai if he sticks around too long, or a sleep dart comes in again.
Right, so he's not really building up towards anything fast.
All right. A more circuitous route this time. Merit is actually visible right now. It looks like he cancels his invisibility. Spending a lot of time here. Yeah, there's no chance, I think, to... Okay, they do actually get Happy, so I was wondering if he was just deciding to abort that idea of trapping the Sombra in the fray. Just the 1 kill. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Favors the defenders once more. Fearless able to get back in position again, and we're down to 1:42.
And you're at a clip here where, this EMP from Merit, like, he's not going to use it straight away, right? Like, it doesn't work. You're looking at, like, a half where you only got 1 EMP.
After how good he's been, too.
Yeah.
I guess he has a tough job.
This one's just hard to go into, right? I think you need just, like, way more coordination with your Tracer and collapse and being able to pick off some of these players.
Okay. I like the combination there. Oh, yeah, to bring Shu down inside the Kitsune rush. That is huge. I thought Merit would be struggling to find a target there. Great combo. Someone got where he had to be. Violet has to Suzu himself. Someone gets a nano. Maybe doesn't expect to get it right there as he's sort of jumping up, but that gives enough time for him to be healed. Houston Outlaws here now in a bit of trouble. All Fearless can really do is try and pressure this back line down, and the fight is well and truly already over. But hey, over 3 minutes burn on that first phase.
Yeah, maybe 1 EMP is all you need, right? As Violet now will switch over to the brig here as Kitsune Rush came out at the right time there for the Outlaws. Just not enough to be able to keep Shu and some of the rest of the crew alive. As I think if you're the Outlaws here, 3 minutes is a pretty long time to hold, but I think you got to take a fight early, right? EMP, kind of key, and then you can control that high ground, right? You can control this high ground and make it very difficult for them to even get in.
Merit goes back to the task of trying to harass the best backline in the world. One of, at least.
I think it's okay saying that they're the best. Yeah.
Special delivery. Pelican not stalk, but able to deliver a key payload there that's just avoided by the Mayhem. So Pulse Bomb finds nothing. I think that was a hack on Fearless and a sleep. So the Outlaws, by the time they finally choose to commit to the defense, the trap is laid and sprung on Fearless.
Yes, I mean, someone now accesses the high ground here. Is that EMP needed to be a fight win, right? Having it not be a fight win is a pretty brutal spot to be in here now. And now that you lose Violet, it's going to take him a while to get off a spawn. You don't have a nano just yet here for the Outlaws. This is looking like the Florida Mayhem may be able to take this checkpoint and take take their second map.
Yeah, awkward timing here. Merit building towards an EMP. Shu goes down with nano. That would have been the answer to an EMP from Merit, but the door is wide open and the Outlaws bustle their way through. And they immediately find the cookie jar in the pantry. It will be the Florida Mayhem eating their fill and moving to map 4 with a 2-1 lead.
And they looked really strong there on Junkertown as the dive started to get rolling. The Widow pick, I think we were both kind of like, oh, well, how's that going to go? How's it going to fare? It looked like it was just a really good, almost like bait, right? Baiting them in to kind of constantly be going at that Widow to try and get picks, get that Widow out of the equation. But
this was nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's nasty stuff. I mean, dude, this is just an overall real, I think this tells you more that Florida can contend, I think, and maybe, I think we talked in the past, like there should be like 2 tier breaks, right? Like maybe there's a tier where
they're in their own tier.
Or they're in their own tier, or maybe they actually are in that upper echelon, right?
Well, that's the question we were here to answer. I think that was kind of the reason why so many of us thought Houston will be looking more comfortable in this series, but the Mayhem are here to change your minds. New Queen Street coming up next, maybe a chance to see that sort of fearless Doomfist. So keep an eye out for that signature composition from the Outlaws. It better work, otherwise they will have lost the series. Don't go far, Overwatch fans. There's much more to come from this series.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damn, damn, instead you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damn, damn, instead you gon' pay up.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damn, damn, instead you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Turn it way up. Turn it way up.
Crank that volume, turn it way up. Way up.
So first it was the Ramatra Rush comp on Oasis with like a Reaper Moira thrown in. Florida Mayhem take the Outlaws by surprise. Then as the series goes on, we get to see more of that flexibility from someone. Now a Winston-based setup, Merit looking incredible on the Sombra as they take Junkertown.
Yeah, and I think this series, for me, really proves that the Florida Mayhem, which is kind of ridiculous, like even saying it like, well, they prove that they can hang, because they're 5-1, right? It's not like this team's like, you know, in the middle of like, you know, that upper echelon. Like, and maybe we should have been considering them up that high all along. But Merit, a big reason why, at least in this series, they've been so good.
Yeah, look, his Sombra, excellent. You know, we saw the start of Junkertown where Merit is, you know, on attack at least, having to go and like harass down Violet and Shu, and maybe not finding a ton of luck there. But as soon as someone gets involved, he's able to combine obviously with his tank. Then he breaks that defensive setup. On offense as well, looked really, really good. This Florida Mayhem team looking legit. All of the players that need to be standing up in a matchup like this are, you know, we want to hype up the Outlaws backline as the best of the world. Well, Chong and Rupal have also looked really, really good. So it's pretty hard to find any sort of pound-for-pound matchup in which the Mayhem are lacking behind. And that's why they're in this position.
Yeah, and it's one where, you know, we talk about the Outlaws roster may be like the most stacked, like talent-wise, that we've almost like ever had. And you see that the Florida Mayhem are able to hang some really nice teamwork, right? Checkmate playing, you know, at an incredibly high level on top of Merit. And that is leading to them being in a position to close the series out.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable that we're kind of here. The way the desk had it sort of played out is that Florida's first couple of maps might be good, and that was when, or rather bad, excuse me, and that was where Houston would make them suffer. But that's definitely not been the case. So all of a sudden, the conversation about map 5 relies on the Houston Outlaws overperforming what we've seen from them so far in this series.
Yeah, and you know, as we move into push, like opportunity here for some different stuff, right? Do you see some Ramatra here? Do we see some types of like brawly style compositions? Because even that, like at this point, right, you would have said, you would have favored the Florida Mayhem in those compositions, but then the Outlaws in like dives. Where now we've seen that the Florida Mayhem can kind of like play even in the dive.
Florida have the Junker Queen comp for this map, right?
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Was that like that disgusting rampage we saw straight down the tube from someone in one of their previous matches here. And we know that when they can, the Outlaws have tried to play Doomfist on some of these more flat maps, right? As you know, the discussion is that it's a bit safer than playing Winston in terms of rotating your cooldowns and getting out of some of those fights.
It hasn't looked as good though, right?
No. Well, no. We haven't
Queen
been.
Street.
We haven't been blown away by the fearless Doomfist, I think it's safe to say.
No, New Queen Street is one where you can definitely see like the Florida Mayhem coming out on like a Junker Queen composition, and then the Outlaws playing the Doomfist type of setup. I can totally see that. Because you can keep the DPS the same, right? You can play Junker Queen with the Sombra and the Tracer, right? I mean, you can do that here. You can play like, you know, Lucio Carico if you wanted, right? Yeah. There's a lot of different stuff you could do.
Ooh, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is an important moment for the Houston Outlaws if they are going to want to establish some dominance in this series. It's their last chance in order to do so. New Queen Street, a map that we've enjoyed watching the Florida Mayhem on. They've been able to play Winston. They've been able to play, of course, Ramatra and that Junker Queen. So a lot of options available to them. Now the Outlaws, how do they respond? Happy? Question mark for me, right? The Sombra play has been, it's been fine. It's been good. Yeah. But it's not Merit good.
Yeah, it's almost been just like teamwork, like a little bit, and since that like Florida seems really like owned in and like focused up right now, where the Outlaws are that, but just in some bigger moments, Florida ends up kind of being a little bit better, a little bit more clean.
But it has been that kind of series. It's been a pretty close affair. We're going to come out of the gates here with both teams on the Doomfist. So yeah, again, that, you know, an extra dimension to someone's hero pool, coming out with something maybe a little bit less expected by us. It's going to be Ana Kiriko versus Lucio Kiriko here.
Yeah, and I think, look, the Lucio Kiriko, right? It's really good at, like, obviously getting in, getting out. Maybe a little bit more survivability with the Ana, right? Healing at range. The Ana, also, for me, it just becomes, look at this. I mean, it's like a dive target, right? Nice Suzu's there from Violet.
I mean, he tried, didn't he?
It's not enough.
No, I mean, every defensive cooldown available to the Outlaws gets used in that small room.
Yeah, it's like these compositions feast on when there's one target on the other team who has no mobility, who's get in and collapse on, right? That's what Ana kind of is here for the Outlaws. So we'll see. There's obviously Suzu in the mix, right? To be able to kind of keep the Ana alive with biotic grenades. Happy no translocator again. Gets caught out. That's brutal.
He has such little notice, you know, between the translocator being picked up and then the aggression coming his way. What a start here for the Florida Mayhem. And like you're teasing at, Matt, there's no elements of this composition that are like lacking mobility or particularly vulnerable to dive.
Yeah, I like the Lucio with the Kiriko a lot more. I mean, I think I said it when we were just kind of standing there talking about it, like Lucio Kiriko on this map specifically. When you're playing these compositions that are get in and burst somebody or uh-oh, we're in trouble, like you don't really need the Ana, so to speak.
Oh, this is bully happy.
He is not having a happy time.
No. Now focusing down big time. Nothing Fearless could do there either. Shu didn't have Nano Boost available, so
That's
already.
a checkpoint already.
I know. I mean, someone's been popping off, getting very excited, but it's all focus right now. It's all business. Because the Florida Mayhem have got a job to finish, and what a way to start in this map. Houston are out at sea. They are drowning.
Yeah, and Fearless now goes over to Winston. Interesting enough.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm curious because sometimes like they would actually say that they like the Doomfist because of the survivability, and now obviously go to Winston.
Gotta change something, right? Something's not quite working here. Is the Kitsune Rush from both sides, no less. And it'll be a trade of kills here, but it's Violet and Shu going down. Rupal is missing. Chorong had the sound barrier here, but it's not enough to keep the Florida Mayhem in the fight. Pretty decent spend by both backlines here, but Houston prevailed.
I wonder if you see Jungle Queen or something else come out here.
Oh, he's not switching, he's getting healed. Okay.
No, yeah, just getting the heal.
Yeah, you could play the Jungle Queen against the Winston.
I think so.
Punk did that against Smurf.
Yeah.
Worked out pretty well. That was on control, though. That was Nepal, if I recall. But it is an option.
Or I think you can stay with the Doom. I don't think you're like forced off a Doomfist in this type of situation.
Yeah, again, the Doom like against an immobile backline still seems fine, right? That was the EMP from Happy that had to be used. So Houston are, they're paying the tax in order to try and get this game further and further towards parity after such a slow, sluggish start.
As you have a Nano for Fearless here, maybe you have a Nano even for Pelican if you wanted it. Is actually that's Merit's EMP that goes down. Yeah. It looks like Fearless is actually like maybe booped there by Chorong and like out of the way. Yeah.
Well, he tried to dive, right? He tried to dive on Rupal, who just swift stepped away the rest of his team.
Just ran away.
Oh man, Fearless now. Gonna get quite the reception as he returns back to the bot. Rupal did go down there, Happy able to find something in that fight at least, but we're headed back.
And I think the most brutal part of this is the amount of progress that the Mayhem got at the start. I mean, 67 meters. This bot can go so far back into Outlaws territory every single time. I mean, they're going to have to be, twice as good to get it the distance.
We are going to get a fight in the neutral territory of the map here, though.
Oh, Shu's hacked.
Yep, and they're diving. Someone hit with a bio-nade though, so that hack is shrugged off eventually. Nano on Fearless. Shu and Violet so low, and eventually Shu must succumb. The pressure is immense from the Florida Mayhem. Fearless is able to use the Nano to trade out, find 2 kills, both backliners no less, but eventually goes down to the Pulse Bomb himself. And again, the bodies are being kept in neutral right now by the Traces.
And I wonder if you don't play this because Shu's like, maybe Shu doesn't play Kiriko. Or maybe, at the same level as you feel Violet does.
Maybe, yeah.
And Shu's not a Lucio player, right? Where like Violet is your Lucio in this type of composition where Florida now changed. They'll actually have someone play the Junker Queen. Interesting.
Moira, wow. We do not see Moira. I mean, this is kind of classic. This is like the Moira Kiriko Winston setup of last year that we saw. Kitsune Rush here. Shu is doing the thing. All the things Moira does right there. You're seeing it.
And all the moves.
Okay, Violet gets a huge kill on Rupal here. Sound barrier here for Chorong, but the Mayhem need to find something and fast. The EMP comes back in, and the Outlaws here can push back to checkpoint. This is a very good sign for them. They are well and truly in this still.
I mean, this would be huge, right? It's, you get this checkpoint here. You see that little golden line. It'll stop for a brief second. You probably have another fight here, maybe, the Mayhem, before that the Outlaws would take the lead. Actually, it looks like they may not be able to make it back in time.
Oh, the commanding shot didn't catch Rupal, I think. They're using EMP defensively, not where you want to be. They can get back to the checkpoint. The bollards take ages to retract down there. Even so, that's going to sting for Florida. Don't want to be on the back foot. Junker Queen for someone's going to have to really prove its concept here.
I mean, he cannot hit, the knife on these flankers. I mean, looking every which way. Just trying to get any types of bleeds rolling there.
Yeah, so, again, like you predicted, right, the Junker Queen was switched to by someone. So now we get to see how it plays out against the Fearless Winston. Chorong hacked here. Flattened. Fearless comes in the other side of the pincer, and this is good for the Outlaws. They are still on the move. Even with Kitsune Rush in play for the Florida Mayhem, they need to find something. These last couple of fights have been so one-sided. And there's RuPaul finding two.
Oh, I mean, the Kitsune Rush is really nice there. Checkmate actually connected with the Pulse Bomb on a Fearless, got him low enough. But man, the job that RuPaul's doing right now, keeping Merit and Checkmate alive and putting down some damage. I mean, that is huge there.
No, Florida maintain that slim lead, but it is shrinking by the minutes. Speaking of minutes, 3 of those left in this map.
Got a Rampage available here. Where can you line it up? Maybe coming down. We've seen some crazy usage of it from someone in particular.
It's pretty good against this Moira ultimate, no doubt about it. And you line it up, here it comes. Ah, you could fade to Reconnaissance now. That's
Just
right.
Fearless?
I've been in coma for 2 months? Not sure. Yeah, only hits Fearless. No value at all from that ultimate. In fact, it seems like the fortunes of the Mayhem have been plummeting since someone has made this switch to the Junker Queen. Here comes the Winston. EMP, though, comes out. Happy and Pelican both affected by it, but it's still going to be a Kitsune Rush laid down by Violet. The white brick road to try and lead the Outlaws to their goal. 3 players hit by Happy's EMP, though, and someone will be dredged up. That's a 5 versus 4 for the Houston Outlaws, and that head of steam is continuing to build.
Yes, Chorong uses the sound barrier there, like right as the EMP is coming out. Didn't see if everybody
Ding,
got the health of it, but yeah, that's going to be the Outlaws taking the lead, battling back after being down. Is man, that is huge there for Houston.
Back to the drawing board for someone.
67 meters there at the start there for the Mayhem, and then you battle that.
So unlikely, in fact, that the team who gets the first checkpoint loses this map. The statistics do not favor them at all. Pulse there looking more like an ornament for Checkmate. We saw Violet able to get away from it, and here's another Coalescence coming in from Shu. The Moira starting to get some value. That health pack there was hacked, so not really anywhere for RuPaul to go. Eventually he's going to be run down by Pelican. 1:35 left in the round. And it's all Outlaws all the time.
Oh, man, this series has been so good. Merit's going to have an EMP, but like, this feels terrible. You're using it coming out of spawn.
Again, you're using it again to come out of spawn.
Yeah.
And that bot is encroaching. That's 100 meters and counting for the Houston Outlaws. Now the Florida Mayhem are flailing. Need to find a way to tread water here and get back into the game, but they're running out of time to do so. There's the dive, but it's a fake dive for someone. He doubles back midway as Violet lets that Kitsune Rush go. Merit trying to play in the periphery, was going to be forced to play from spawn for the time being. They are forced all the way back, and Houston have found another gear. Fearless going to get those ground up, though, as Checkmate runs him down. Merit now can emerge after deploying the EMP and getting rid of one of the biggest threats on the side of Houston, but Violet's able to chime back in. Chorong is down. The Outlaws do not want to be forced away from this here. Eventually, Shu is dragged down, and eventually the Outlaws will be brought to a stop, but man, we are running out of time.
Do you have enough to barrel through the opposite way, though? Right? I think you might, in a sense that Happy's got an EMP, got sound barrier for that, and then you'll start to get everything else rolling. I mean, this is not over just yet.
Nat 5 on the table. Houston Outlaws, one hand extended for it. Happy setting up here, knows this EMP could secure that 5th map. A lot of ultimates online for the Mayhem here. This is a crucial moment. Sound barrier for Chorong, he lets that one go. RuPaul not affected by it though, and hacked at the same time. He's going to have time at least to deploy the Kitsune Rush here, but he finds Fearless to start with. Florida might have a chance here. It's all about the Kirikos at the start of this fight, as Merit is going to be brought down so close to EMP, but the rest of his team are looking to stand tall in his absence, and someone finds all of the backline.
But this is what I meant though, right? You win this one fight now for the Florida Mayhem. You come back, you have the Kitsune Rush, you have Pulse Bomb, and you're going to get the EMP. And the carts, the bot's going to kind of keep pushing through this barrier, not going to stop. You have an opportunity here.
Coalescence comes in already. The Susie Goose on someone now, kept and topped up, fair enough. Kitsune Rush has been thrown down by RuPaul. Look at Fearless getting into the back line now. RuPaul's in deep trouble. He can't get away. The Primal Rage is going to secure the kill, and Pelican was lying in wait for Merit. The EMP goes begging. An opportunity for the Florida Mayhem to end the series here also. Goes by the wayside. Someone able to find the one kill there. It's going to be Violet going down. Hangabout, Checkmate coming back into the fight. Both backliners are down. There's no supports available for Houston. Fearless, though, has a very hefty health pool to work with, and it's just Chorong left. Solo on the barrier. Merit's going to get there just in time. The EMP comes out. Can Checkmate follow up? It's just going to be the one kill, but it's just Fearless. He's got to get away. And the Mayhem don't want to push the bot away from their spawn, but they've got no choice. We're in overtime here. Swift Step going to be used. RuPaul getting out of trouble. Merritt looking to come forward towards Fearless. Now someone is back on the scene. Merritt again goes down, this time not with the MP, but Happy has one available. He translocates out, and there's valuable moments for the Mayhem to return to the fight. It's Happy going down, and someone on the bot. Checkmate going to be there as well, but at 2 versus 5, it's too much to ask for. Shu's Biotic Orb comes in, clips Trom, and someone goes down. It's all about the Moira as the Outlaws push this one to a map 5.
It's starting to get a little dangerous towards the end to be the Outlaws, but man, being able to pull that out, a lot of other teams, may have just kind of folded there, in which you find yourself down in a series you're expected to win. The other team right off the rip and push goes 67 meters, and you basically give up nothing for the rest of the game. It is all in your favor as Houston battles back to force a Game 5.
This map ends nothing like the way it started. Happy being constantly bullied. The Florida Mayhem get out to a huge early lead, finding that checkpoint in the first few minutes of the game. But then we see the switch, right? Fearless on the Winston, away from the Doomfist mirror. Someone tries the Junker Queen. It doesn't pan out. He's forced to switch over to the Winston, but by that point, the Outlaws are in the lead.
Yeah, and I actually thought, like, the Junker Queen switch may actually, kind of like pay off for Florida, but maybe the thing was to just match, right? They've been playing good in that mirror the entire day, at least this far. Where Nepal here at the end, I mean, a lot of different compositions you could bring out here. Think about to the New York series we casted when we saw some Farah compositions. This will be a crazy map 5 in this one.
Nepal is where this one is going to end. Do we get the Outlaws try once more for the Pelican on Farah set up, or will it be something completely different? Throw your ideas out the window now, ladies and gentlemen. It's down to brass tacks Overwatch as map 5 looms on the other side of the break.
둠피 하긴. 이겼어.
어우 좆될 뻔했네. 병신 같은 거.
예.
내가 죽어도 좆될 뻔했다. 다행이다.
나 근데 하나 못할 것 같아. 저 어떻게 살아야 돼?
아 근데 이거 너가 안 할.
Well, a win is a win, no matter what it costs you. Even if in this case it costs you everything. The Houston Outlaws willing to give it all to get a map 5 win in this series, and they pave their way with the Moira.
Is it ever truly worth it?
The Shoira.
Yeah, the Joyra, as Johnny said during the break.
Yeah. Well, it works out. We saw a lot of jostling compositionally speaking there. The Junker Queen, yeah, maybe not really living up to its reputation from someone on this map. Again, you're up against a completely different beast in Fearless here, so don't write it off entirely. It's just, yeah, you got to wake up pretty early in the morning to deal with your anime protagonist there. Top and center, Fearless, leading the Outlaws through this series.
You know, not exactly a reverse sweep here on the table for the Florida Mayhem, but a correct reinforced prediction is on the table here.
It is on the table. Might be used as a napkin in a moment, but it is there. Nepal once more. I'm very curious to see what we get in Village. If Houston are going to be too gun-shy to go for the Farah Mercy setup. That was a sight to behold. It didn't work against the Valiant, was it?
Yeah, it was awesome to watch, but it didn't work.
Yeah, perhaps, you know, entertainment value losing its appeal at this pointy end of the series.
So we got Merit on the Ash here, so gonna look to try and connect with some of those big dynamites as the Outlaws decide to dive on in. Yep, just some ticking damage down here onto Fearless. Yeah, this will be the hardest thing. I mean, look at that. He thinks he's safe. He walks right back into Fearless's bubble.
It's pretty uncomfortable to play from that position, right? Where is a safe spot to be for Merit?
There
wouldn't be
isn't a
shocked to
safe
see you
spot.
switch instantly.
Yeah, I mean, there just is no safe spot there when...
Oh, he's white-knuckling it. Okay, there we go.
He's like, if they can make the Moira work, we can make... never mind.
I knew where you were going, though. That's fair. Yeah.
So, he will actually go and play Sombra.
Chorong thought about the Brig there, but all for the Lucio. The Lucio comps for Florida, been really nice. Looked very good at the start of New Queen Street, paired up with their Doomfist dive.
Can they keep RuPaul alive? That'll be kind of the key here.
Fearless's target priority shifts drastically now with Merit switching over to the Sombra.
The thing I will say about RuPaul, when we watch the Florida Mayhem play, he doesn't like sit off in an off angle. Like he actually is sometimes like, he like constantly is in there like with the team, right? Like he's moving with the Lucio and kind of like using that speed to be in the mix. Yeah, Shu likes to play off to the side, right?
Well, Violet didn't have the option to go back and help him out here. So Florida find the correct dive target here. Fearless, I mean, there's no safe place to go. He jumps up towards that high ground now. I guess Chorong was there.
Yeah, and like you can actually see like RuPaul through the kind of like X-ray.
Oh,
like,
don't get too close. Ooh, neither of them go down. I mean, Fearless drops Rana to checkmate's pulse, and that could have gone ugly for someone in Chorong.
That did not. That was like watching somebody like narrowly avoid like a car crash. That was brutal.
I mean, someone would have been fine. He would have shrugged it off. Chorong would have been in pieces, though.
Yeah, you had no idea. You killed Chorong.
20% and counting. So Florida switching off the Ash. Get themselves in the game here. EMP is going to headline this next fight, surely. Happy knows that Nano is up for RuPaul.
Yeah, no, RuPaul just constantly like defending himself, right?
Again? Sorry? I mean, I don't even think Mero was being grouped up with there. That might have been solo. Either way, someone gets rid of Violet, so both supports down. Unless Violet swift-stepped and ended up dying? Either way, not great for Houston here. This is going to put Florida in the lead.
Yeah, and Fearless uses Primal, right? Not a massive ultimate, but still one you probably would have liked to have back at this moment where, yeah, that's actually Merit with someone making a play for both supports where...
That looked good, man.
Kitsune Rush to just try and like break through this right side.
Sound barrier here. Someone on Chorong. Checkmate also benefiting from it. EMP thrown down as someone is on the warpath. Shu cannot be kept alive by Violet, and it's going to be the Kiriko that gets the Nano here. Someone at Checkmate scooping him on up here.
RuPaul just kills Happy on the other side of the map.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, and even throughout all of that, you didn't really see the support health bars of the Florida Mayhem like drop considerably there. Like doing a fantastic job protecting them, putting the Houston Outlaws on the back foot when playing these dives.
Okay, that was an EMP expended there, so the Outlaws, I mean, hey, if they don't make use of Happy's EMP here, they lose the round, flat out. Okay, it's going to be used for Checkmate, who got Nanoed. It wasn't enough to keep him alive, though. Three players credited with that kill there. Chorong now under pressure. He's able to peel away from Pelican for the most part, but this will be the Outlaws able to move back to the point. No tracer for the Mayhem, but they want to commit to some degree, and they still hold the point. It's not over yet.
Yeah, it's going to be someone inside of his bubble, just dancing for a period of time, has to back out. I mean, was not going to be able to fight that. Checkmate came back, but they realized, hey, let's get a reset. Let's get everybody topped up, then decide to make a play.
Dangerous though. Merit and Happy are out of sync in terms of those EMPs. Florida looking for that opportunity, but they've actually taken shootout at the start of this fight. Houston are in so much trouble. Yeah, RuPaul deals with Happy for an extensive period. So the Mayhem get to move back in and flip. The backline pressure from Florida has been sublime.
Yeah, I mean, that is a sick play from RuPaul. Puts a shot in the Pelican, and then seems happy about to hack him and puts him to sleep.
It's over.
Him on the Ana being able to play a little bit more offensive and just kind of keep himself up. Maybe the difference is Violet takes out Merit, though.
Still, Happy can't stay alive on the point here. We're waiting still for Fearless to return. He's barely come off spawn. Speculative pulse bomb there from Checkmate. Gonna be Suzu'd away just in case. Here comes the Kitsune rush onto the point. Someone wants to try and pressure Pelican down. He's able to avoid that scrutiny for the time being, but eventually he's gonna have to run back and get a health pack. This draws someone away from the point for the time being, and Fearless has Primal Rage. The Outlaws well positioned to retake the point here. The Florida Mayhem will let them.
Yeah, but they have an EMP, and you'll have sound barrier here for the Florida Mayhem, as that's going to be Chorong using the sound barrier, and then the EMP is going to go.
Fearless! Quick double, that could be huge. Back to the point he goes here. He sees Checkmate in his sights, who has to recall instantly. Chorong catches one from Pelican. The Houston Outlaws are going to keep the point here. What a horrible start to the fight, but Fearless carries them through it.
And it looks like when they dove into that back left-hand part of the map, they just got primal through that doorway straight off the sides. That is brutal.
3% and counting. Here come the Mayhem. They've got Primal Rage, they've got Pulse Bomb, the ladder being used by Pelican here to put pressure on someone and force that Primal prematurely.
The legs are out.
The legs are out for one and all. And it's going to be Happy forced away. He's going to have to use them to get back into the fight as quickly as possible now. Houston have the point for the time being, and they've got rid of someone. Happy's able to turn around and find the kill there. Checkmate has the pulse. He gets the stick on the soldier, and he gets Pelican for free. Checkmate better get a lottery ticket after this one as Chorong sends Fearless careening off the map. The Florida Mayhem are well and truly in this. Thought Happy turning it around on someone would be the difference maker, but it's Florida to come back when it counts. Violet has to stick away in that corner, has to be pressured back. There's no chance for him to touch here in the Mayhem. Take the first round. What a way to start this map 5.
How the hell do you play 2 more rounds after that? I mean, like that was crazy. I mean, you saw RuPaul's face cam. It looked like he was going to pass out. I mean, that was like it's like a 6-minute OT just to kick off game 5 here. I mean, that's insane.
Quite the head-to-head record there for Houston. None of that really matters, though, not right now. Heading the second round on Nepal.
It felt like an 11-minute round 1 in Nepal, with like 4 of it played in OT.
That was insane. The Soldier 76 switch for Happy actually managed to win against the Winston there. Thought Fearless had saved it for the Outlaws, but no, it was not to be.
This is we haven't seen these comps since like map 1, right? Like really early on. Where they'll actually play the sim here, the Outlaws, and it'll be the Florida Mayhem who decide to play that Reaper, and they actually play the Moira with it.
Sim without Ryan. Little risky, I've got to be honest with you. Shu, able to get around that May wall. Chorong, oh my goodness, yes, the turrets. It's okay, maybe a little bit scary to play in the front line as a sim, but once you get cooking like this, give this man a Michelin star.
Yeah, I mean, he just starts to, once you get beamed up, get rolling as I mean, Chorong just ran in and just got mowed down. Oh, for a second I thought Chorong was going to go Life Weaver. I was like, we're about to see a game 5 Life Weaver here, but no, they'll actually play that Far Mercy.
The Outlaws no strangers to this composition either. Shoot! Oh my shoot!
It can be difficult. So it can be difficult attacking with Far Mercy, like playing into these comps, like going in. Especially because the Outlaws are not just kind of committing to holding the point. Yeah, they're actually going to play high ground.
How's this go down? Shoot. Oh my goodness. Get out. No, that's... Okay, nicely done. Florida trying to break line of sight as much as they can from the checks notes. Baptiste. They managed to get into a position now where Checkmate can fire vertically down towards the point. The Outlaws retreating here. Amp Matrix available for Shu.
Now this is the spot where the Pharah you think can do some damage, right?
need the Maywall.
You force them onto the point. Maywall behind.
Immortality.
Simwall's going to be ready as well.
They need a kill.
Shortly.
What? Jerome just gets chokeslammed by Fearless, who emerges from the point at just the right time. Jerome a little bit too close to the ground there. It's going to be Checkmate coming with a barrage. It claims Pelican, and Happy had zero protection. Here come the Florida Mayhem now. They're going to have the point back, but the Outlaws get a decent lead here. 74? Not too shabby.
Yeah, I'm curious how they decide to now play into this, right? So Pelican will play Sombra, and it looks like Happy's going to stay for now. You're not, you know, TP for mobility, and then maybe the, you know, you have ult, so you want to get used to the shield. Get Fearless in a position.
Yeah, the wall here, crucial. Correct placement, though, is going to be essential. There it is, okay. Essentially just bisecting the point at an angle. The Outlaws are able to play from behind this, and they stack that with a sound barrier, which is interesting, but allows them, I guess, to surge forth from the wall, find merit there. In the corner is someone, he's caught, there's nowhere to go. Valkyrie gets committed to this fight by Florida, and they're going to be evicted post-haste.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have RuPaul on the point here, so I imagine everybody will fall shortly. Yeah, it's nice job. They kind of like went towards that like high ground. They baited they were going to kind of come out, you know, on that little ledge, like the medium one, not go full off for the high ground. And then just TP'd straight to the point and fought from there. So kind of took the Florida Mayhem off guard. Is
still on the Pharah.
Still on the Pharah. You got an overclock to work with you. See those sim turrets up on the high ground trying to prevent somebody from like diving in there.
Getting some info at the very least, right? Here comes Checkmate. Flying low to the ground. Tara's being cleared off by that splash damage. Merit operating from the other side here. The pincer is active, but RuPaul gets caught. Looks like there's a TP with an Annihilation in play. Fearless brings the Maelstrom with him across the map, and that'll do it. Houston even things up here on Nepal.
As we are going the absolute distance
Listen,
in this series.
You're representing Florida. You should be used to Cyclones just appearing in your vicinity.
I oddly, like, I'm okay usually. Like, obviously somebody has to lose and somebody obviously wins. I feel bad for the team that's going to lose today because both these teams have been sick all throughout. Somebody's going to get crushed here at the end. Pelican maybe bringing out the Echo here. Maybe thinking like they're going to play like some kind of like Ramatra-based stuff here towards the end.
Doesn't look good against a Winston, though.
I mean, I think if he knew that they were going to run out here on like Sombra Tracer, probably would not be playing this.
Yeah. Okay, again, very different backlines here.
Yeah, you're also committing to like, you know, the break here and the Ana, so.
Okay. 3-player biotic grenade served up by Shu. Pelican, honestly, looking pretty comfortable playing up in the skybox for now.
I mean, like, also Pelican, I mean, the year that he won, like, Rookie of the Year, I mean, he's tremendous on the Echo. That's kind of what, like, everybody, you know, knew him for, right? The Tracer, the Echo, I mean, tremendous.
RuPaul just trying to keep someone top for now. Fearless hacked for a moment. No Sombra for Houston, bear that in mind. Pelican is going to really have to make his case for Echo over Sombra here. Sticky bombs, no one too bothered by those for the time being. No one capping yet.
Yes, both teams just kind of jockeying for position. So it looks like the Outlaws were getting closer. Oh, but that looks like a hack that was actually on the Pelican.
Now, Shu did not have the line of sight, but he has at least a nano boost to try and make good after the fact. It's going to be Violet the beneficiary, and they bring someone down, and your odds of touching the point here aren't great. You've got a nanoed Brig sat there, so Houston will start accruing some capture percentage.
Yes, even though you lost Pelican, still the nano Brig just gets really, I mean, really beefy, tough to move on to the point and get out of the way. Allows Violet to build up towards that rally, so this EMP comes through, you're going to have a rally to deal with it.
You got to favor Florida here. Beat Kitsune Rush, EMP.
But, I mean, if you invest all of those, though, right? I mean, they have rally, they could kind of drag this out. I mean, I don't know how much you love that.
All right, here's the EMP. Oh, Shu's able to stay alive. The rally What a big difference maker. And yeah, the Container Rush gets deployed in this fight. So Florida do have to make use of everything at their disposal.
And they still may not win.
Okay, Suzu stuck there to someone. Pulse Bomb soon following, but he's able to stay alive with that Primal Rage here. In comes Merit, out goes Violet. And Florida should have this point unless someone doesn't get to the health back in time. The focusing beam's going to bring the Winston down.
And Fearless has Primal. You're going to have a duplicate here for Pelican in just a second, as that is worst case scenario there.
That's
for
backbreaking.
the Florida Mayhem. I mean, yeah, that is that could be game defining, game ending there. As you use all of those ultimates, you now have Rupal switch. And the Outlaws come back. I mean, they're going to have a massive advantage, right? You're going to have, like...
they have everything.
You're going to have, like, a Nano here for Fearless, probably. You have this duplicate. I mean, you're in a fantastic spot.
Florida trying to kill Shu. There's nothing they can do about it. Violet packs him. He's able to avoid the Pulse Bomb. Completely unbothered. Winston. Pelican with a duped Winston. You aren't getting anywhere near the point right now if you're the Florida Mayhem. You are running out of time. 10% left here. Chorong in deep trouble. Who is going to save the savior? Primal Rage comes in from Pelican, getting a lot of value out of this duplicate, but Rupal was there just in time, but there's 2% left. There's got to be a touch from the Florida Mayhem, and here it comes. Pelican got to return to the point quickly as Merit has to translocate away from the sticky bombs that came his way. Oh, the whip shot is good. Still, there's going to be a touch just in time. Houston holding the fort for the time being, but someone's going to get the nano boost now. Who can he pressure? Violet just minces Merit up. He disappears in a red haze, and Fearless dealing with Rupal means that this is about done. The Florida Mayhem, no supports. No DPS, no hope here as the Houston Outlaws shut them out of this 5-mapper. And now they're looking excited. What a deserved victory for this Houston squad. Coming alive when it counted.
Man, Florida played their hearts out so close. I mean, you can just see kind of the disappointment there as the Outlaws, they drag it out in the end. I thought like Violet on the Brig was a huge difference maker there on that one, right? Having the Brig alive, being able to use the rally to keep Shu alive at that time, then also a pretty good nano target as they were starting to try and push on to the point. They ended up nanoing Violet there towards the end. And there's nothing that the Florida Mayhem could do about it.
Yeah, they tried so hard to focus you down. I sort of, in a cursed way, I said, coming into that maybe third fight, the Mayhem should be favored here, right? Yeah. Both support ultimates online. Kitsune Rush, Sound Barrier was there.
That was like a playoff level game right there. I mean, that was a good one. I mean, there is some we get some stumps, some 3-0 Overwatch sometimes during the regular season, but man, that game was sick.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see the very best at both of these teams, albeit at somewhat different times, as it was the case. Fearless able to stick to that Winston, play a beautiful round there on Shrine. I feel like Sanctum though was really where Florida played their heart out. That was an insane round. These two teams, man, they gave us some bloody good Overwatch today, Matt.
Yeah, and I just wonder, the first round there on Nepal went so long. I'd love to know, just after that round, what was, I feel like the confidence and just momentum totally switched after that. I mean, it just was such a long, highly intense round that so difficult after that one.
Yeah, let's talk about our player of the match here in this series for the Houston Outlaws, the one and only Shu. Virtually impossible to kill, a key component of this world-beating backline, and you better believe he deserves to be extremely pleased with the result his team got today.
Yeah, I mean, look, Shu and Violet, we've talked about it, potentially the best backline. I definitely think you can say that, as they have just been able to cover so many different heroes. And really, I mean, Shu's Ana being able to make a big difference today.
Yeah, this was just astonishing. We did see some slight awkwardness for Houston on New Queen Street, trying to find out with the best backline. And then Shu just picks more and goes brrr.
Yeah.
And has a fantastic round. The Coalescence build time was extremend low. Shu was a key factor in so many of these fights. We thought, okay, maybe against the Junker Queen, it's a little bit scary when your ability to heal gets shut down. That didn't end up really being a factor. You're playing up against a dive frontline that's competing to be best in the West, if not the world, and you are staying alive.
I mean, look, being able to, obviously he's got a ton of help there, but look, being able to stay alive through that, be able to heal everybody, it's just tremendous play from Shu all around. I mean, fantastic sleep darts, right? I mean, just kind of considering how the dives are coming in, being able to land those consistently.
Yeah, we got the best of Shu and the Outlaws today, but their fans had better hope there's even more where that came from. And look, take a moment to appreciate what we got to see from Florida.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Florida, I think, proved today that they can contend with the teams, like the Outlaws and the Atlanta Reign, that we do believe are the best here in the West. Florida was, that close to winning that series.
What a
tremendous match. Yeah.
Just so much to break down, and in order to do that, we're going to head back over to our experts over at Watchpoint. Been great to have you with us so far. More to come on today's show. Curious to see what the gang has to say about this absolute barn burner of a matchup.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We have a match to break down, and what a match it was. We were sweating here on the desk watching those last few moments.
I was losing it.
You might have even heard it during the cast, like he nearly
banging
the table. It was intense.
I think that was by far the best match that we've had.
Thus far.
That series of the year,
Oh,
for sure. I mean, that might hold series of the year for a while. I mean, there were just so many absurd moments in that series. Couldn't expect the way it went.
And you called it, but you didn't call it, but you called it.
Yeah, I mean, look, my pred was wrong, but I feel
I was right.
My pred was wrong, but I feel righted. I gave Florida Mayhem a chance when no one else did. It was a really close series. It was a really good effort by both teams, and it got down to the wire. So I still feel I'm really proud of Florida Mayhem. They put up a great fight, but when it just came down to it, they just lost a little bit of that composure. And we can talk more about that later when we see the Nepal highlights, but kicking off this series, it was what I said about Florida Mayhem. They swapped it up a little bit. They brought out tempo and really pushed Houston Outlaws to their limit, and that's how they got a leg up in this fight early on here.
Yeah, I think some of these opening comps, like bringing out the Lucio Reaper and Gardens, very unconventional. Most teams wouldn't have done that, but I think they really gambled into expecting Fearless to play Winston, and that's a bit of a vulnerability for the Outlaws. You can counterpick them without seeing the comp. You can kind of expect you're going to play against Winston, and if you just run that hard counter, it looks pretty good. Although on some maps, right, like Hollywood, for example, just the excellence in terms of dive execution from the Houston Outlaws, they look like second only to the Reign, really, at this style in the league, and it just shows how deadly it is to deal with. I mean, you can't even walk in against these players.
Yeah, it's brutal. And then Junkertown, really good execution here by Florida Mayhem on the defense, I feel like. They knew the dives were coming from the Tracer and Sombra, but they were able to peel it off. Merit on the Widowmaker, for example, great sleeps by RuPaul a couple of times here to set them up for the frag. So it was really kind of the series we expected, but in just a fantastic way in that it was back and forth on all these maps, really. New Queen Street, don't even get us started on the Junker Queen pick here.
The pick was rough. I think it shows that Queen, although it has potential, it really struggles against the top teams. And honestly, you could look at the Moira pick as like a troll pick or something really weird, but I think this is very intentional, actually, from Outlaws. Maybe they switched to it thinking, I just need to get back fast, get back to the fight. But I think keeping it against the Queen makes a lot of sense. You can fade out of that Queen ult, deny it completely. So even when you're calling, right, there's not really a good opportunity. There's no one you can really catch as the Queen.
Yeah. Finally here on Nepal, though, Florida Mayhem, in my opinion, they just lost their composure, and we didn't see the highlights from Village, but the swap over to the Far Mercy. The swap over to the Far Mercy, it was brutal. As we see here, some Tracer stats between Checkmate and Pelican per 10 minutes this match. Really impressive performance by Checkmate on the Tracer. The Pelican staying alive for a little bit longer than Checkmate in this duel. But really, I'm sorry, I just need to go back to it. I really do feel like Florida Mayhem, the reason why I predicted them in a 3-2 was because I think that Nepal was a really good chance for them to close this series out. Obviously, Sanctum goes back and forth, and Houston almost clutched it up. But on Village, for example, I almost favor Florida Mayhem when it comes to like a Rematra kind of duel here, slow things down a little bit. The strength for Houston Outlaws, in my mind, is the Winston, is the Sombra, is the Tracer. So when you go over to Village, and I see Mayhem swap over to Farah Mercy, when I see Chorong in Spawn, by the way, when he swaps over to the Mercy, and then he's like, I wanna go back to Lucio, and then he swaps back to Mercy. It might sound silly, Jake, but
when that happens, it's over.
You can tell
what you're doing. You don't know what you're picking.
There's indecisiveness in that hero swap, and I just think that if Florida Mayhem got the chance again, they would absolutely not go to the Far Mercy comp.
Well, I think it showed Houston's evolution there. We saw Houston lost to London on Nepal, trying to play the Far comp, trying to make the dive work against the sim comps, and I criticized them then because I think it's just a more consistent comp. That map is so abusive. You can just teleport to the point, cap the point. Even if you lose the fights, you're still winning overall, and you just need to win like one real fight, and it all goes to pieces for the Far comp. So I really think, I agree, it's a bad swap, but Houston were ready. Houston came out on the sim, and I think for Florida, they just guessed wrong. They thought, oh, they'll play the Pharah again, even though they lost it the last time. I think that's a bad read. I think it's clear that the sim comp's really dominant on that map. Yep. And for basically every team in the league, I kind of want to see just sim mirrors on that map. I think it's really that dominant of a map. I don't really think the other comps are viable. Even the full tech counter for beating the sim, it just doesn't seem to work that consistently.
Yeah, and I mean, the disappointment truly showed on the Mayhem's faces. They went all the way to map number 5. It was such a clutch match, and it was the Houston Outlaws getting that victory in the very end. And we do have Pelican from the Houston Outlaws to chat to in just a little bit, one of the tracers extraordinaire. However, I do have to once more give a shout out to Checkmate, who truly, he had a lot of pop-up moments there as well as 100%. That trace, and it's just so fun to see those players on heroes they're so comfortable on, just giving us such performances on the server.
Yeah, and I think we got to see a little bit of the stylistic difference between them as players in that stat card we brought up, showing that, yeah, Checkmate does find a little bit more pulse bomb kills, but Pelican's keeping right up in damage, almost the same in damage, but dying significantly less, and showing that his style as a tracer player is controlling the map, creating space for often much greedier backlines where, with Chorong playing a lot of Lucio, Florida Mayhem's running in there, they're making plays, they're trying to get kills. For Pelican, with the double flex support, his role is really more defensive. I mean, obviously, you're still a DPS, you still want to find kills and open things up for your team, but holding that space for Shu and Violet is also having a big impact on the game.
Right, and Pelican, the man of the hour, will be with us in just a second. So, Danny, please do the walking thing.
I will do the walking thing.
So good at this.
And of course, yes, we were talking to Pelican for the post-match interview. Pelican, what a great match. I mean, that was a fantastic performance from the Houston Outlaws. How did you guys get it done? What gave you guys the edge today against the Florida Mayhem today? 자, 오늘 굉장한 경기, 재밌는 경기 일단 감사드리면서 오늘 승리 좀 어떻게 거두시게 되신 것 같으신가요?
솔직히 오늘 좀 잘했는데 게임이 지니까는 좀 불안했는데 그래도 저희 팀이 텐션 올리고 해서 이긴 것 같아요.
I mean, I gotta say, I was pretty good throughout the whole match, but first 2 maps we were losing, so that got me a little bit worried. But I think we kept the tension up, and I think we, just powered through to the end. I think that's how we got the win. I mean, you were right. I think the first, half of the game, Florida Mayhem definitely had the ball rolling. Was there a time in the match where you guys or you Pelican personally thought that this could go pretty bad, we could lose this? Was there like a specific moment when you sort of were worried about the match? 자, 방금 말씀하셨던 것처럼 당연히 잘하신 것도 잘하셨지만 일단 전반전 쪽에서는 좀 더 플로리다가 좀 좋은 모습을 보여줬던 것 같아요. 좀 어떻게 보면 펠리컨 선수가 보셨을 때 좀 개인적으로 어떤 오늘 경기를 하면서 이거 잘못하면 질 수도 있겠다라는 좀 그런 순간이 좀 있으셨나요?
오늘 유킨에서 저희가 완전 그냥 이제 손브라가 완전 말려가지고 이제 아무것도 못하고 이제 1거점 줄 때 그때 좀 이거 질 수도 있겠다 했는데 다행히도 잘해가지고 이긴 것 같아요.
Overall, I mean, I do have to point out that, I think it has to be the new Queen Street map. I was sort of worried when, our Sombra tactic didn't really work out. And when we first gave the first checkpoint, I was worried. But towards the end, we got better and we were able to clutch that out. So we got the win. All right, I mean, I think this was... You guys have one more match, actually. You guys are going up against the Vancouver Titans next. That is going to be final match before you guys go on to Korea. How confident are you going into that match? Because Vancouver Titans are, a team that are sort of on a roll as well. 자, 이번 경기 끝으로 이제 다음 경기 하나가 남았습니다. 밴쿠버전이 남았는데 이제 그 경기를 이기시게 되면 이제 한국으로 미드 시즌으로 가는 걸로 확정이 나는데요. 그 경기 좀 얼마나 쉽게 이기실 것 같으신가요, 펠리컨 선수?
오늘처럼의 경기력이면은 솔직히 좀 힘들 것 같고 내일은 긴장 안 하면 쉽게 이길 것 같아요.
I mean, if we Houston Outlaws play like how we did today, it's gonna be a tough battle against Vancouver Titans. But I think if we sort of are less nervous, I'm pretty sure it is going to be an easy win for the Houston Outlaws. All right, Pelican, thank you so much for the amazing match. Thank you so much for the interview, and congratulations on getting the win one more time. 자, 감사드립니다.
감사합니다.
Always great to hear it from Pelican. Houston Outlaws take this series and get a victory on the board. Love the intro there, right from the bat. He's like, oh, I was
really good.
I was really good. Never worried, actually. Love the confidence. But I mean, if you play like that, you can have that confidence. Right on, though. But would they be nervous going up against the Vancouver Titans? Do they have a reason to be nervous?
I mean, I think they do. I think Titans is a threat. I don't think you can take them lightly after some of their recent performances. But clearly, I think the Mayhem game was the more difficult game, the more likely one to lose. So after getting this one, I think they probably will feel less nervous, feel confident going into the next series.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to secure the trip to Seoul, Korea, of course. It hinges on them now, essentially. If they need to get this win, or I guess, Boston has to beat Atlanta in a bunch of different scenarios, right? But it's not quite there yet, but it should be all booked for Houston Outlaws at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, like they're just hovering over the buy button.
They're hovering, waiting to pull the trigger, yeah.
But the tap is open. Shu also tweeted, GG's Florida Mayhem. Good dive team. Okay, I played very easy. Oh, whoa.
That's a thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up. That's a pointing up.
Is that a minus 1K on broadcast?
Was that a...
No, that's a point up to Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, listen, the screen is very... I saw something else and I was like, oh, sure, aggressive.
No, you saw it, right?
Oh, I saw it.
I see production. I see how it is. All right.
Oh, okay.
I gotta...
Just violence today. I like it. Why not?
I gotta say, it really hits me that I got my pred wrong here.
I got it right.
I am sad. This moment is making me sad.
Tell the Mayhem. That's a thumbs up.
We were this close.
This isn't a thumbs up.
Man.
It's okay. You win some, you lose some. You're still ahead in the Preds. Does that make you feel better?
We were this close to greatness. We were this close.
We were. You hear that, sports fan over there? We were.